Muhammad Umar Farooq biological video. Please make sure to subscribe, like and share. Ask the question for answer and comment about the artwork. You can also answer question to each other for solving the problem. So today we will discuss about the immune system. I will try to simplify the immune system and I can I can classify it with three line of defense. So here is the first of all the barrier immunity, and the second is the innate immunity, and the third one is the adaptive immunity. We will discuss step by step to understand the concept about this immunity. So here is the person which contain a barrier immunity in skin, while the innate immunity inside of the during the birth. So that's adaptive immunity after the birth, when infection will be caused. The again pathogen will be interact, so the immunity is quick response. So the outside is the antigen, which that is are present in the environment, so that's continuously affect to the human body, but the immune system, immune cell, which that is combat and resist this activity for the invasion of the pathogen. So here is the skin. First of all is the barrier immunity. So the barrier immunity is a lot of microbiome are present in the upper side of the skin. So the 1.3 meter per square meter square is the skin around our body, which that is known as the barrier immunity. So this barrier immunity contain basically skin is a barrier, and that's dead skin is used for the barrier immunity, while here the hair shaft and hair follicle we will not discuss about it. So that here is the pathogen. So the pathogen is create the microbiome in our skin. So this skin is harmful and helpful bacteria, which that's harmful is resist by the protein species gland, which secrete the sebum or other antibacterial substance. So that's inside is the innate immunity. Innate immunity means that during the birth, in mean inside, innate mean born. So when we will born, that immunity is the rudimentary, and that is the basically set of different cell. For example, mast cell, dendritic cell or Langerhans cell are present in the skin, and neutrophil, natural killer cell, macrophage, monocyte and basophil. All these cells differently play important role as a immunity. So we will discuss also, but here is the inside is the blood vessel and lymphatic vessel. Lymphatic vessel contain a T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte. So that is the naive T cell and naive B cell, which that is a precursor of activation with a specific pathogen for create the antibody and memory B cell, which that resist further. So we will discuss about the barrier immunity is here. So the barrier immunity is the respiratory system which contain a cilia, which they are used for the outtaking of the dust particle or something, and the trachea contains cilia. On the other hand, inside of the lungs contain a macrophage, which they are used for the endocytosis of the phagocytosis of the pathogen, so prevention of that. On the other hand, the digestive system contain acid, and this acid is the resistant to the pathogen, while the urinary system is also contain a epithelial cell contain a resistive power. So for example, here is the mucus, surfactants, defensin, lysozymes, antimicrobial protein, immune system, immune cell, and desquamation of the skin of the keratinocyte, which that is further divide to proliferation, and the desquamation is the important character or the shedding of the skin for decreasing the pathogen. So this is known as the physical barrier immunity, our first line of defense, while the next second is the here is the innate immunity is also we will discuss. So that here is the lymph node. So here is the T lymphocyte, naive B cell, which that is the use as a adaptive immunity. So this adaptive immunity is due to the adaptation against the pathogen to quick response against the invasion of the pathogen. So here is the dendritic cell, which that is and macrophage we give the signal to activate the naive B cell and T lymphocyte, which that activation by the production of cytokines. So the cytokines is interleukin 1, interleukin 2, and TNF, as well as the interferon gamma, which that produced. While here we will discuss about the innate immunity. When we will born, that immunity is every person contain it, and this is contained with the specific cells. For example, here is the polymorphonuclear cell. It means the neutrophil. So this neutrophil is 60 to 70% contain a white blood cell, and that is the different type of nuclear cells. So this neutrophil is function is a phagocytosis, eating cell, so that the pathogen will be coated with the antibodies of the antigen, so that's the opsonization to engulf by the hydrolytic enzyme and lysozyme enzyme and myeloperoxidase, defensin, serine and protease enzyme used to kill it, and that is the innate immunity part of it. So that is the important neutrophil, which that is the most abundant cell. While here the eosinophil is the 1 to 3%. So the function of xenophil is basically fighting with multicellular parasite and infection site. So where the infection site will be occur, that is the for example viral attack, that is xenophil is used. So that xenophil is the goggle shaped nucleus. While here the monocyte we will discuss here is that the monocyte is the precursor of macrophage, which that is by the stimulation of the cytokine to produce the macrophage, and this macrophage is engulf the antigen, so by a coating of the antibodies or something. So that is the function is the tissue damage, pathogen, endocytosis and kill. So that means their function is the endocytosis or phagocytosis. So here is another basophil. Basophil contain a 0.5 to 1% WBC. That is known as a basophil. So this basophil is the function of the basophil is fighting the parasitic infection again, that is the same. So that is the prevent to blood clotting. So that is important things, and contain heparin. So that is the use for the prevention of blood clotting and other various responses by allergic reaction. So allergic reaction we will discuss in the next video about the hypersensitivity. So here is the mast cell. So the mast cell is contain histamine and heparin, which that means it facilitates the neutrophil and macrophage to the blood vessel. So their function is the resides on the connective tissue and mucous membrane and lining of the respiratory tract and gastrointestinal system. So that is used for the wound healing, activation against the pathogen, association with allergy reaction. Their granules contain histamine and heparin, which are used for the facilitation into the blood vessel, the blood capillary, to invade the macrophage and neutrophil for the killing the parasite or inflammation site. So that is the important character of the mast cell. So the mast cell is basically a recruit to the by the production of histamine and heparin, that is used as the chemokine, and that's attract the neutrophil and macrophage where the infection site is occur. So that means it is important to calling the macrophage and neutrophil for the completing the infection site to infection free. So that is here we will discuss also the dendritic cell. So the dendritic cell is also part of the innate immunity, and this innate immunity is an antigen presenting cell. So this antigen presenting cell, when the pathogen will come into the human body, so the pathogen is opsonization, and the B cell will produce, we will discuss in the next, but is the antibodies containing that the dendritic cell will give the signal to the T cell. So the CD8 receptor are present, and that is stimulate the production of chemokine, and that attract the B cell. So the B cell produce the antibody against the antigen, while their function is kill or kill the pathogen. While another is the natural killer cell. So this natural killer cell is important character is that direct kill the infection site. For example, parasite or tumor cell. So their function is the kill our own defective cell, such as tumor or virus infected cell. So that means it is not used for the helping mechanism. So it's directly kill the infection site or tumor cell. So here is we will discuss about the adaptive immune system. So the adaptive immune system is basically their cell is the immature cell, T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte, which the T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte are present in the lymph node of the lymphatic system. So the lymph vessel are present. So this lymph vessel is here, and that means here is the body of the human which contain a lymphatic system. So this lymphatic system is drain their lymphatic fluid into the subclavian vein. So here is you can see this diagram, and the lymphatic vessel is contained here. Whenever the infection will be occur, so this T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte will be activated by the chemokine production from the dendritic cell. So dendritic cell is moved toward the lymphatic system and lymph node, and that is activate the T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte. So here is a lymph vessel contain a wall. So the direction of the lymph into in the blood vessel in the lymph vessel is the unidirectional. So the direction is the absorption of the fluid from the tissue and move toward the subclavian vein to drain it. So here is the B lymphocyte and T lymphocyte. So next here we will discuss that is the thymus gland, which that is activate this T lymphocyte and B lymphocyte. So this is the education site is the thymus gland, which that educate or activate and move into the blood vessel for where the infection site is occur. So the infection site is used for it. And so here is the B cell, which that is mature and which that attach with the antigen as well as monocyte to produce macrophage when activate, while these phagocytosis will be occur while the B memory cell is also produced. This B memory cell and plasma cell is also produced. This plasma cell and B memory cell is opsonization by the antibody as well as opsonin protein, which that's come from the liver to opsonization and kill the pathogen. After the killing of the pathogen, which that is coated with the antibody, is engulfed by the macrophage, which that is the calling mechanism, produce the chemokine from the T cell, and that monocyte will be activated to produce proliferation of the macrophage. So this proliferation of the macrophage will be engulfed the is known as the phagocytosis. So let's talk about the basic overview of the adaptive immune system and how it's work. So the how it's interconnected to the innate immune system. So the here is the dendritic cell, which that is the part of the innate immune system, and this is the basically attached the T lymphocyte where the lymphatic vessel are present by the MHC class 2 receptor. So that's here is the antigen. So the antigen presenting cell is known as the dendritic cell. So this dendritic cell is attached with a T lymphocyte to activate it to produce cytotoxic T cell and memory T cell. So this cytotoxic T cell is directly kill the infected side cell, for example tissue. So that tissue contain a damaged cell which that is viral infected, or some tumor productive cell is killed by the cytotoxic T cell. So you can see this in this diagram. So that is known as the cellular immunity or cell mediated immunity, which that is the part of adaptive immunity. But on the other hand is one another part is known as the humoral immunity. So the humoral immunity is not directly infected the infection site, but it's produced the antibody. So here is the B cell, which that is activated by the THC or T cell. So that's a T cell is contained by the T cell receptor and CD4 cell, which has produced cytokines. So these cytokines attract more B cell, and that B cell will be converted by the B memory cell and plasma cell. So this B memory cell contain a remembering antibody for the again pathogen infection to quick response, while the plasma cell is also produced at the time of plasma cell when the infection will be occur, and this plasma cell produce the antibody. This plasma cell produce antibody we will discuss. So that is the humoral immunity. Humoral immunity mean it's not directly kill the pathogen, but the different mechanism. So first of all we will discuss about the antibody. Here is the IgG, IgD, IgA, IgM and IgE. That is the antibody types, which that is the specific for the antigen of every antigen. So here is the antibody will attach with the antigen or pathogen to produce the antibody antigen complex formation. So this antibody and antigen complex formation to kill the pathogen, and this killing the pathogen is the different mechanism. So we will discuss about the opsonization or complement system in immune system, which that is also invertebrate part of this immune system. So here we will discuss, just first of all we should understand about the memorization of B cell. So this memorization of B cell, which that's again pathogen will be infect the body, that will be quick response to collapse by the antibody, and that's called by the production of chemokine to call the neutrophil and monocyte as well as macrophage. So this macrophage and neutrophil will be recruited by the memorization of B cell proliferation to kill that pathogen. While here the opsonization system is here the complement system we will discuss in immune system. So the type of 20 proteins complement of antibody action and destroys the pathogen by the opsonization. So here is the opsonin protein which come from the liver, and that is here is the antibody antigen complex is here, which that's attached with the complementary protein is the C1. So the C1 is the basically precursor or the cascade of different mechanism to produce to opsonization or kill the pathogen. So here we will discuss. So C1 complex attack, and that is attacking of the C1 complex to produce a fragment is known as the fragmentation, and C2b and C4b will be produced, and this C2b and C4b will be complex form again is known as the C3, that is the convertase enzyme used to it, and that's complex will be formed is known as C3. So this C3 will be again broken down by this enzyme, by the different enzyme to produce C3b and C3a. So this C3b and C3a will be again bind with the C5 to produce a C to bind with the C3b to another complex is known as the C5. So remember C5, and this C5, if C5 will be convert into the C5a and C5b, and that means that is the cascade of different protein is the opsonization or kill the pathogen by the different collapsing mechanism, and this is will become a tasty for the neutrophil and macrophage, and thus macrophage and neutrophil will be endocytosed, so the hydrolytic enzyme will be neutralize it. So that's all thing is about the immune system. Next video we will discuss about the activation of B cell and T cell.